Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin and today we're doing a book haul unboxing. And I have quite a few boxes to unpack or unbox for you. But before we get at that, I just want to take a little moment to talk about book haul, or this specific book haul, because I am someone who has kind of like strict rules when it comes to buying books. During a summer, I'm on a book buying ban for the entire summer because I don't make as much money during the summer as I do the rest of the year. And then other than that, I also have a book buying ban when it comes to my to be read bookshelf, which is this one. It is this shelf, and then this bottom shelf here. And I usually say that I am not allowed to buy books unless this bottom shelf is empty. And as you can see, I have some space here as well, so the bottom shelf is very, very empty, and that's the only time when I buy books. And I'm the kind of person who likes to buy a lot of books in one go, and then I don't buy books for like 3-4 months, and then I buy a lot of books again, because I'm the kind of person, like, I want to fill this bookcase when it's full. I rather like buy a lot of books in 1 month and then not buy a single book for several months and then buy a lot of books, and like it goes on like that. So I just wanted to go into that a little bit before unboxing. And another thing that I want to talk about is the fact that all of these books are from Amazon. I have bought all of these books from Amazon, and the reason for that is I have tried like 5 different book online stores, and unfortunately I haven't found a good substitute for Amazon. I know that a lot of people recommend a book depository, and I have ordered from the book depository, but I have unfortunately a lot of issues with book depository. First of all, it is owned by Amazon, so I wouldn't leave Amazon if I use book depository, as it is owned by Amazon, you know? So like I can't substitute Amazon with Amazon, you know? And another thing with book depository is that it says that it's free shipping worldwide, but for me, the books are more expensive, and I pay more in import taxes than I do for shipping. So it's not really like, it's not worth it. And then with book depository, when I buy books, I'm very specific about the covers that I get. And there are just so many books that I have ordered from book depository that I have gotten in an edition that I didn't want, because you buy the book and then what edition you get you can't really, you know, control that. But with Amazon I can. And I live in northern Sweden, so shipping usually takes weeks for me. With book depository, it took over a month before a book would arrive, and several months before all books had arrived. With Amazon, every book arrives within a month, which is very weird. But like, until I can find an online bookstore that is affordable and ships easier, or like that it doesn't take that long to arrive, and then also that I actually get the book covers that I want, and like all of those things, that's why I use Amazon. I wish I didn't have to, but I haven't found a single place yet where I can buy books that actually ship to my address also. Like, there are so many places, there are so many online bookstores that would get recommended to me, and when I write in my address, it says does not ship to you. They ship to Stockholm, and they ship to like areas around Stockholm and Gothenburg, but me, northern Sweden, nope, we're not shipping to you. So like, it's more difficult to get like to find people who ship to you when you don't live close to a major city. So like, I just wanted to go into that, so you know why all of these books are from Amazon. Like, I wish I didn't have to support that company, because I don't agree with the company, but as it is, there is literally no other place I can go to, unfortunately, if I want to buy books, which I want. So then let's start unboxing some books. Let's start with like these skinnier ones. They have like a rip That usually never works for me, but it did, and I'm happy. Oh my god. Okay, this is so beautiful. I got The Bright Task from Helen Wang. I have been ridiculously excited about this after just hearing a lot of people talking about this book and how much they love this. And the second book, no, this is the second book. The first book is the Kiss Quotient, but like I've heard a lot of people talking great things about this series that I just felt like I love romance, and it has disability wrap for mental health issues, which is something that I struggle with a lot. So I think that's great, and also that it's very like Asian centered, that the characters are Asian and the love interests are also Asian. I've just heard a lot of great things about this, that it's very fun and sweet, and yeah, I'm just really excited about this series. And the other book that is in this is oh my god, I knew that this was gorgeous, but look at it. Look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's called Son of the Storm, and it's by Suya Davis Okungboa. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but I heard about this. It is the first part of the Nameless Republic series, and it is very much inspired and based on African culture, I think. And I don't know, like maybe also African folklore and things like that, but it's like very much centered around African things, and I think it sounds so cool. It's high fantasy, and like I'm just so excited about this. I've heard great things about this. It doesn't really say on the back, so I'm gonna read from Goodreads, and it says that this book, from one of the most exciting new storytellers in epic fantasy, Son of the Storm is a sweeping tale of violent conquest and forgotten magic set in a world inspired by the pre-colonial empires of West Africa. In the ancient city of Bassa, Danso is a clever scholar on the cusp of achieving greatness. Only he doesn't want it. Instead, he prefers to chase forbidden stories about what lies outside the city walls. The Basai elite claim there is nothing of interest. The city's immigrants are sworn to secrecy. But when Danzo stumbles across a warrior wielding magic that shouldn't exist, he's put on a collision course with Bassa's darkest secrets. Drawn into the city's hidden history, he sets out on a journey beyond its borders, and the chaos left in the wake of his discovery threatens to destroy the empire. I think it sounds great. So that was the first package done. Then we have a second smallish package that I can just rip open. So we have this little thing. This looks very interesting, and it has 3 books in there. I'm gonna start with the shortest one. A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park, based on a short story, based on a true story, based on a short story. It is a short story, but it's based on a true story. And I loved Linda Sue Park's other book, When My Name Was Kyoko. Absolutely adored this. This is also a short kind of historical book set in Korea, in South Korea, or in just Korea, when Korea was Japanese or part of the Japanese Empire during the 1940s. So this is kind of like what that was, and I love this book. I gave it 5 stars, I think. I gave it like, I absolutely adored this book. It's one of my favorite historical fictions of all time. So I was really excited to pick up Linda Sue Park's other book. So this is kind of like a historical story about Salvadut, who was an actual person, who was a man in Africa, and he traveled through Africa because of something. He was forced to flee his village because of attacks and issues that were. And Linda Sue Park has interviewed him, as well as other people who went through this whole experience. And I don't want to go into it knowing too much, as it is partly like it's based on a true story. Like it is based on someone's actual life, and the main character is called Salva, which I think is because of Salvadut. But it's interesting, like this is going to be kind of like an historical, I think in two timelines or perspectives, I don't know. One in 2008 and one in 1985. Both are connected to Sudan, and it's kind of like traveling through Africa, which I think sounds very interesting. I really like the fact that Linda Sue Park spent like a long time interviewing the people that she based this story on, so that it's as authentic as possible. But I'm really excited to read this very short historical. Then we take another book and we have, oh, Sweet Tan by N.G. Peltier. I've heard great things about this. This is a very cute romance, adult romance, contemporary adult romance that I've heard a lot of great things about. And this is kind of like not an enemies to lovers kind of thing, but they don't like each other. They're kind of annoyed at each other. They find the other person very annoying. And then we have like, so we have Kieran and Cherez, and Cherez's best friend is getting married and she's the maid of honor, and then she finds out that Kieran is the best man, so they have to kind of group together for the wedding. And I've heard just that it's absolutely cute, that it's really cute and just a really fun time. And I also think that it's kind of like beautiful to have like black love this way, because I am aware that a lot of romance stories are between a black person and a white person. It's not that common to have two black people in love in the romance genre, so I think it's really like cute and nice when that happens. I know that a lot of like black romance readers are calling out for that, so I have heard great things about this from black romance readers, so I'm really excited to read it. Like, this is the kind of cover that I adore. Look at it. I love the fact that it's kind of like a big illustration. I think it's really cute. And like this scene, if this scene is in the book, I'm gonna love it because that's cute. And the last book in this is Love and Other Natural Disasters by Nisa Sugiyula. Oh my god, I am so excited for this. This was one of my most anticipated 2021 releases. Can't believe it's here. I absolutely loved This Time Will Be Different by her. I read it, I gave it 5 stars. Like, I really loved that book. This is, I'm expecting something a little similar, but not as, like that one was contemporary literary fiction, YA. This is more of a romance, and it's sapphic. It has a little summary on the back that I think is really beautiful, and it says, Nozomi has it all planned out. A summer in San Francisco, the perfect internship, and then fake dating the girl of her dreams. Lucky for her, when it comes to love, there's no such thing as the perfect plan. It sounds beautiful, and I love, like, I'm here for all the queer love stories. Like, look at this. I think it looks really stunning. And I love the supportive, like, friends. This is like, oh my god. Like, look at the spine. It's beautiful. That is like, if you want a theme for the books that I bought, it's beautiful books. That's it. So that was the second package. Then let's move to one of the smaller ones. Now you can see it. So just, oh my god. This could potentially be very dangerous. Is it upside down? Yeah, it was upside down. So we're trying again. So, and now, it should just be, I hate doing this because I always feel like I'm gonna ruin the books. Like, one bad move with this and the books are like, bam, and I might be too. I can be very clumsy, but I have a driver's license in knife from Scouts from when I was very young. So, oh my god. The first book that I see that is kind of like face up, is a book that one of my favorite booktubers, who is Clumsy Charlotte, you should check her out. I will leave her channel link down below. She made a kind of 25 reasons to read this book or this series, and I'm all for it. So she convinced me. So this is what it looks like, and this is the book. So this is Magic of Blood and Sea by Cassandra Rose Clark. This is a bind up between, the bind up is between The Assassin's Curse and The Pirate's Wish. So it's originally 2 separate books, but it's one bind up. I wanted to have the individual copies, the ones that I know that Charlotte herself has, but I couldn't find them. They were unavailable. So I got this, but I think it's really beautiful as well. So Charlotte, if you're reading this, you made me buy it, and I can't wait to read it. Both books, because I will count this as 2 books, as I should. And as you can see, the bookshelf is starting to fill out, which I love seeing that. So the next book is another one that is face up. This is a lot more gorgeous than I expected, and it is Want by Cindy Pon. Like, look at this. Look at it. And it's so huge. Like, it's bigger than my face. It's beautiful. And this is just like, I looked into science fiction books and I found this and I was like, I have to have this. And the synopsis says, Jason Zhao survives in a divided society where the elite use their wealth to buy longer life. Do I need to read more? The rich wear special suits that protect them from the pollution and viruses that plague the city, while those without suffer illness and early deaths. Frustrated by his city's corruption and still grieving the loss of his mother, who died as a result of it, Zhao is determined to change things, no matter the cost. And I feel like the whole thing with the society in this sounds really intriguing, and I am really excited to get into another science fiction series. I know that I am just continuing to start series that I don't finish, but look at this. I am really excited to get to this, and like I'm just ridiculously excited, okay? Like, I love the fact that it's so big that it's gonna feel really nice. Like, it's a tall book. It's a tall hardcover, and I am here for it. I am here for it. And then we move on to the next book. There are 4 more books in this one, and the next one is another Asian story. This time it's historical, and it's Luck of the Titanic by Stacey Lee. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really excited for this in a lot of ways. Like the movie Titanic from like 2001, or maybe it was before that, I don't know. But Titanic was a movie that me and my sister watched every day for a long time, and it's kind of like a comfort movie for me and my sister for a lot of years growing up. So when I found out that there was kind of like a spin on the Titanic that is, you know, like an historical book set on the Titanic, with like that whole thing being very, very well known, going to be really nice to see what that was like for. I am prepared to cry, but oh my god, I can't wait to read this. Like, I feel like also knowing about Titanic and what happened with the Titanic and all of that, and knowing that movie very, very well, it's gonna be very, like, I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat waiting for like things to happen. Like, oh my god, what is gonna happen when, you know, the boat starts to sink, when it hits the iceberg, like what is going to happen to the characters, to the story, to everything going on here when that happens. And like, will Stacey Lee kind of divert from the real event of Titanic, or is it going to follow the movie and the actual event? Or, you know, like, I am very interested to find out what she will make of the story. Then the last book that is lying down is The Weight of the Stars. I didn't expect there to be kind of like, if I don't know if you can see it, but this has structure, this has a different texture, so like it doesn't shine. That is a beautiful spine, and I love that it goes kind of like around. I've heard great things about this. This is kind of like a science fiction, and it's sapphic. And on the back it says 10 million light years from now, bathed in the radiation of a time without time, are the bones of a girl who loved Ryan Bird. I just, you know, like the spines, I just did a little flip. You can't see it from, yeah, look on the page. The page. It has on the page, like on the edge of the page. Beautiful, like, oh my god, it's beautiful. We almost have this bottom shelf filled out, but there's still like a little bit of space. So then we move on to another book, and let's do this one. Girls at the Edge of the World by Laura Brooke Robson. This is a sapphic fantasy. I am here for all the sapphic, okay, today. Yeah, but as usual, I'm gonna read a little bit from the synopsis for you. And it says, in a world bound for an epic flood, only a chosen few are guaranteed safe passage into the new world once the waters recede. The Castrovian royal court will be saved, of course, along with their guards. But the fate of the court's royal flyers, allotted feat of aerial silk performers, is less certain. Hell-bent on survival, principal flyer Natasha Koskinen will do anything to save the flyers, who are the only family she's ever known. Even if anything means molding herself into the type of girl who could be courted by Prince Nikolai. Unbeknownst to Natasha, her newest recruit, Ella Neves, is driven less by her desire to survive the floods than her thirst for revenge. And Ella's mission could put everything Natasha has worked for in peril. But as the oceans rise, so too does an undeniable spark between the two flyers. It's sapphic, it's fantasy, it has revenge. Here it is. This is the book. All these books are so beautiful. So I know you can't see it, but we have these two books on the bottom shelf now. So the bottom shelf is no longer empty, and we have a few boxes left, and we're not done with this box yet. We have one more book, and I am so excited. And it's The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. This is kind of like a companion to The Weight of the Stars, also by Kay Ancrum, of course. This is a little bit of kind of like a supernatural thing, and it is Achillean, so it has like two boys falling in love. But what I really enjoy about this also, I've heard that it's great for fans of We Are the Ants, which is kind of like an angsty, kind of dark YA that also features male loving male relationship, and I love that. And like that was Sean David Hutchinson is the author of that book, and that is something that I really got me into being intrigued by this book, that it has these dark elements, supernatural elements, kind of weird in some ways. And I love when books are weird in a like, and it works, because there are a lot of books that I love that are weird and it works in them. So I've heard great things about this, and it's beautiful. But something that I also really enjoyed was this. So we're gonna just do a little flip through. So as you see, it's kind of like the pages are molding and then it just turns to black. And I love when books are visual that way. When the like visual aspect of the book adds to the story in the way that like multimedia does. I love that. And once again, another beautiful book added. Like the details in this, the gold, love it. And you can't see that book anymore because it's on the bottom shelf. Then let's move on to the other This is a lot more like beaten up, I think. Like, look at this. It's kind of beaten up. I hope that the books aren't, you know, water damaged or anything, because this looks like this box has been through quite a lot, and I hope that my books aren't. And the first thing I see is some plastic, and then, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, so to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed because I got these covers of the Wayfarer series. I wanted the vintage one, and the thing is, like, if should be like completely honest, or I don't have anything against these covers. I think they're beautiful, but this is a set of the first 3 books. So we have book 1, book 2, and book 3 in the series, and then this one is not, like, if I remember correctly, this is not part of the Wayfarer series. And so I bought the 4th book in the vintage style because I thought that I would get this set in the vintage style. So I ordered the 4th book in the vintage style so that I would have a matched set. But now I have the first 3 books looking like this, and then I'm gonna have the 4th book looking like this. That's the thing, that, like, it's one thing if all the books look different. Like, I have a series, like, for my Frostblood series, every book is different. Like, the first book is a paperback in one style, the second book is a paperback in another style, and then the third book is a hardcover in the second book's style. So they all look different from each other, and that kind of works because every book in that series is different, because that's what happened when I ordered them online that I didn't know. But that's what happened. So I have the first 3 books of the Wayfarer series in this style, and then I will have the 4th and final book in this series not match. And that's what's bothering me. Like, I really love this series. I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet in August, gave it 5 stars, really loved it. And I chose Closed and Common Orbit for my September TBR, so I will be reading this month, and I'm really excited to get to it. I just feel a little sad now because the 4th book in this series is on its way. The next book in this box is another queer book, and it's We Could Be Heroes by Mike Chen. This is a superhero, an Asian superhero who is queer. I love that. Like, I love superheroes. I have talked about, I love Dreadnought, the trans girl superhero in the Dreadnought series. I'm waiting for the 3rd book to be announced, the title of it, the date it's gonna be published. We don't know anything about that yet, but I love the first 2 books, and I really enjoyed Not Your Sidekick. I want to own that series, like the entire Not Your Sidekick series. I would love to own at some point. But I found this, which is a queer superhero who is Asian, and it's a guy, which I haven't read before. So I think that's going to be very nice. And it says, kind of like the little thing says, an extraordinary and emotional adventure about unlikely friends and the power of choosing who you want to be. It's a queer superhero book. And I think this is going to be very interesting. If this is going to be like, this scene is going to be very interesting. But, like, look at the cover. It's like 2 cities, I guess. Beautiful covers all around. The next book is a classic, and I got this because this is a book that I really want to read and that I feel like I have to read, like, at some point in my life, and it's 1984 by George Orwell. This is like a cult classic dystopian science fiction that I feel like, as a science fiction fan, this is a book I have to read. That book, of course, had to begin with a 1, the number 1, meaning it has to be the absolute first book because it's the first number. And I always do numerals before the letters. So like I had to move everything to fit it in. And then the last thing in here is another set, and it is Heartstopper. I have never tried to read the Heartstopper series before, but the 4th volume just came out, and I've heard a lot of people talk about the series and how great it is, and that it's a series that everyone should read, and that these characters they deserve the world. I've heard so many great things about this that I felt like I want to read it. But the thing that's held me back for the longest time from reading the series is the fact that I'm trying to not read male stories, male romance written by women, because like in my head I would never buy a female romance written by a man. So why would I buy a male romance written by women? So like that's kind of the thing that went through my head. But unfortunately, there isn't that big a market for men who love men who writes MLM fiction, because that market is dominated by women, and that's kind of like what publishing houses see, that the women make a lot of money writing these stories because they're writing these stories for women. But I've heard a lot of people within the queer community as well gush about these books, and I know that Alice Oseman herself identifies as aromantic asexual. And as someone on the asexual spectrum, I want to support a fellow asexual, because there aren't that many asexual aspec authors out there who are open about that, and so I wanted to support her. But I also wanted to take part of this series that I've heard nothing but great things about. So I decided I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna see what all the fuss was about and whether I will love it or not. And I think like aesthetically, this looks beautiful. Like they look stunning together. Hi, sorry if like the frame changed or anything. The memories card was full, so I had to switch. And that is another box finished. And we're on to the biggest and last book box. There we have it. Let's start with this one, because this is a book everyone should be expecting, and it's the Kiss Quotient, because I got the second book, so of course I got the first book, and I love that it has a yellow spine. I am over the moon that I got a book with a yellow spine. Yellow is my favorite color, so it's kind of bugging me that when I did a rainbow bookshelf, I had like 2 books with a yellow spine. So I'm happy that I have one now, or another one at least. Now you see the full top shelf, which is nice. Then we take another book that is also a sequel, and it is Ruse by Cindy Pond. This is the sequel to Want that I talked a little bit about earlier. This is also, that went well. This is the sequel to Want that I talked about. This is another beautiful cover. Like, look at her. Look at her. Beautiful. And that was the first book, the one that I talked about earlier. The next book I have is, this looks so much more stunning than I expected, and it's Brothers Keepers by Julie Lee. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, oh my god. This is kind of like a story about Korea and a sister trying to, help her brother as they go through Korea in a time when it's not that safe. It's a middle grade, and I just thought it sounded really, really interesting. It says on the back, North Korea, 1950. No travel without permit, no criticism of the government, no absences from communist meetings, repeat slogans, don't trust your neighbors, don't speak your mind, you are being watched. So I think this is going to be a very hard-hitting middle grade. So hi, I had to recharge the battery. So that's why things might have changed. But we're down to the last 3 books, and the first book that I want to talk about out of these is The Apocalypse of Elena Mendoza, and this is by Shane Sean David Hutchinson that I talked about earlier, who is the author of We Are the Ants, that I absolutely adore. And the reason I wanted to read this is because I really loved We Are the Ants, so I figured maybe I will really love another of his books, so I figured why not try. This is the story of Elena Mendoza, and she is the daughter, I don't know how to explain it, she is the product of virgin birth. So her mom was a virgin and gave birth to Elena Mendoza. And it's kind of like with We Are the Ants, that it is kind of real, but it has kind of like weird twists. The same thing that I really like with some of Matt Haig's books, that they have like very realistic things, and then they have some weird things happening that is explained in a way that it feels like it's real too. The next book is another romance, and it's Along for the Ride. And this is kind of like with Sweet Hand, that we have this sister who is trying to help her sister. We have this girl who's trying to help out her sister and her brother-in-law move across the country, and by doing so she also has to make time with a guy she can't stand, and romance ensues. So I'm expecting this to be kind of cute and fun, but also have that kind of like little thing that comes from like banter and people not standing each other, finding the other person annoying and then falling in love with that person, despite the annoying things that they thought about them in the beginning. I think that's going to be very fun, and it seems that it's going to be kind of like a travel romance, and travel in books is something that is either a hit or miss for me, and I hope this is a hit. And then we're on to the last book of this entire unboxing. I just noticed that it had a rip. But it's Honey and Issues Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jagadar. This is what I was talking about, the little rip. But this is a sapphic and Bangladeshi romance that is YA or middle grade, I don't remember, but these two girls pretend to date each other. And I think it's something that is very needed in the world currently. Like, I had a best friend who lived in Bangladesh who was lesbian, and I know like from her, and like we were best friends for like 3 years, talked almost every day, and like I know how difficult it was for her to be gay in Bangladesh and to have Bangladeshi characters who are like same-sex and fake dating. I think that's kind of like really nice and refreshing, and I'm very interested in finding out how the story goes and how the relationship develops between Honey and Issue. I really loved Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar, so I'm excited to get to read this as well. So that's it. Look how we filled out my bookcase. We have still a lot of space left. Like you see, this is where the bookcase, the third, oh my god, this is kind of like where the third row ends. So it's barely filled half of the third row, which means that maybe in November, December, I will have another haul, because it will empty out in a while, I think, because it's not that many books in a row. And I categorize, or I sort the books by alphabet. That's why it looks the way it looks. It's just a lot easier for me because of my TBR game to find the books if I have them alphabetically by title. So yeah, so this is what the shelves look now. It's really nice. Like, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air, so to speak, to see new books on the shelf. Kind of makes me feel inspired to read and to pick up some of these books. Like, I'm really excited to do that, and you can definitely expect me to pick some of these books from next month's TBRC, so for October. But yeah, so that was the book haul unboxing, my first one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see all of you next time. Good reading. Bye.